Yo, what it do, YouTube? How's it going? This is the J-Rex here, and I'm just gonna be talking about silver today. But yeah, silver. I think it's gonna be headed for like $5,000, 5,000, maybe 6,000. Even I'll go as high as to say maybe 10,000. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there's just so many things going for silver right now that just going up maybe $5 or $10 or $100. That's an understatement. There's just too many things going for silver right now to make it go much higher than that. Just skyrocket, even higher than gold, even higher than platinum. But I'm gonna tell you why I think so. You got a lot of how can I say, economists that are like saying like, oh, silver is gonna go up to like $100 because if gold is like $1,000 and we go by the 1-to-10 ratio, then silver should be $100. Man, fuck that shit, man. Get that shit out the door, man. Silver, we can't even go by that anymore. Like, today is an entirely different scenario than what the historical ratio was, the past 2,000 years. Just this century is just a completely different situation for silver. So I don't know why economists keep using that goddamn fucking historical ratio 1-to-10, $100, foot up your ass bullshit. So no, fuck that. That shit's irrelevant now. It's a different situation. But yes, I'll tell you why. For one reason, back in the historical times, back in the old days, Middle Ages or Industrial Age or whatever, during those times back then, there was more above ground silver than there was gold. That's how it was back then. But today, in today's terms, no, it's a totally different scenario now. There is actually more above ground gold than there is above ground silver. I done a lot of research. I went through the internet and I came across a lot of stuff. And if you want the data of my research, I can send you the links to the websites. But I mean, I'll just save you the time of having to go through all that shit, and I'll just tell you right now. But yeah, in above ground inventories, there's about 1 billion ounces of silver, roughly. That's the most common answer I came across. Some were saying 800 million, 700 million, some even going as low as saying 300 million. But they were saying 300 million because they were saying that's the amount of available silver to buy for investors. So yeah, so we'll go with the safe bet and say silver is at about 1 billion ounces of above ground inventories. Now, gold, on the other hand, I'm coming across about 5 billion to 6 billion ounces in above ground inventories. So 6 billion ounces of gold. Holy shit, man. That's 6 times more abundant than silver. Like, hot damn. Holy shit, man. So, that tell you right there. Gold is 6 times more abundant than silver. That is some crazy shit right there, homie. So, yeah. And that has never happened before. This is the first time in history that's ever happened. So, according to that, I mean, silver should be about 6 times the amount of gold right now. 5 to 6 times. So what, gold is like 1,300 right now? So multiply that by 5 or 6 and you will get the price of what silver should be. Now there's people always saying, oh, that's like totally irrelevant because, there's a bunch of silver underneath, the surface. There's more silver in underground inventories than there is gold. Well, you can take that shit and shove it up your ass, because it's totally a load of bullshit. Because you can't really count that, because it's like it's in the ground. It hasn't been dug up. It hasn't been processed, and it hasn't been created. It's still in the earth, raw, not developed yet. So, you can't really count that, because if the market needs silver, it needs it now. It needs it now and pronto. And, finding the silver underground could take years, to retrieve. And, so that I can't count that, But, alright. Silver supply is in a deficit correlating to demand, yes. The reason why there is so little above ground silver is because we've been in a deficit for a long time. And by deficit, I mean we were unable to satisfy the demand of silver through production. Now, from the data I've come across, production of silver from mining, industries is about 700 million ounces per year, and demand for silver is about 1 billion ounces of silver per year. So, industry has been unable to satisfy the demand of silver. So, what happened? Pretty much the government, took their hand, shoved it up their ass, and pulled out some silver and handed it over to the companies. Pretty much. There's a couple shit stains on there, but just wipe it off, you're good. But yes, that's what's been happening all this time for for a long time. We've been in a silver production deficit according to demand, and the only way the demand was able to be satisfied was by governments going into their vaults and taking out silver out of their reserves to fuel demand. And all that silver that we accumulated throughout the centuries, throughout the Middle Ages, throughout history, we pretty much, just gave all that away out to industry, to satisfy demand. So the billions of silver that we accumulated throughout history, we lost it. I mean, I wouldn't say lost it, but we consumed it. And pretty much threw it all away too. Consumed it and threw it away. So, yes, that is another thing. I mean, silver is pretty much unrecyclable. It is recyclable, but it is expensive. So, it is not profitable to recycle silver from dumpsters and garbage hills and heaps, because there's such a little amount of silver in the products that we put it in. Because silver is used in computers and laptops and cell phones and solar panels and medicine and clothes. It is used in so many different kinds of things, and we put such a tiny amount of it in the products, like 1/10 of an ounce in the products. So it would be more expensive than profitable to extract that silver out of the products and recycle it. So pretty much all the silver that we consumed throughout these decades just got thrown away, and it's now lying in garbage heaps. It's unprofitable to recycle from it. So, there you go. So there goes that. Also, investing demand is going up too. You see, it's just a double thing for there's just so much going for silver. Silver is a hot commodity industrial wise and investment wise, so that's a double bonus. Gold is just an investment, that's just investment demand. That's about it. But silver is hot commodity in industry and investing. So yeah, but yeah, China and India have been buying a shitload of silver recently. They've been buying a lot, and I know demand for the American Eagle is going up too over the years. But it's just demand for silver is just going to continue to go up because as currencies fall apart. As currencies fall apart, and as the American dollar loses its status as a reserve currency, countries are going to need a new monetary reserve to back up their currencies. And America's always been the reserve currency, the dollar, but a lot of countries are bailing out on the dollar now because they see that the dollar is hyperinflating and it's losing its value, and the dollar is not backed by the gold anymore. So a lot of countries are bailing out on the dollar, and they're backing up their currencies with something that is actually of monetary value. In this case, gold and silver. So as more countries bail out on the dollar, they're going to need a new reserve monetary value of exchange, and that will be, like always, gold and silver. Countries always go back to gold and silver after shit hits the fan, and their dollars or fucking euros or the yen is worthless. Piece of shit. So, okay. What's it? I think I said that all. Oh yeah, but let me tell you that I don't know if anybody knew, but rhodium went up to $10,000 one time. It was back in late 2000s. But rhodium used to be $100, and that thing shot up to $10,000 within several years. And the case was was because panic buying. Companies were panic buying out of worriment that there would be shortages, and so they panic buy and they buy as much as they can, and suddenly supply is low and demand is high and people can't get rhodium, and pretty much that's shooting up the price. Same thing with palladium. Palladium too. Palladium went up from 100 to 800 because companies were panicking that there might be a shortage. So so they bought tons and tons of palladium, and just shooting up demand and dwindling supply, causing the price to go up. But yeah. Oh, yeah. So, it's just silver's guaranteed to go up. Now, probably a lot of you are wondering, why is silver not going up? Why is it only $20 right now? Well, really, all I can say for that is paper manipulation. From what I've come across, and I've come across a lot of research websites, but yeah, apparently, a lot of companies like JP Morgan and shit, the comics, from what I'm hearing, these companies are putting a lot of paper silver into the market. Pretty much paper silver is I guess an IOU for some silver. So this paper silver is okay, I owe you 5 ounces of silver or some shit. But basically Companies like JP Morgan and Comex have been pumping a lot of paper silver into the market, and that paper silver is being counted as the real thing. And from what I'm hearing, they've been pumping billions and billions of ounces of silver, in the paper market. They just billions of silver. Okay, so that's from what I'm hearing, that's what's causing the price to be so low, because it's assumed that there's so much of silver right now. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all I gotta say. So yeah, when will this manipulation end? I think the manipulation will end probably very soon. I'm thinking it's gonna be within this decade. I'll go as far as to say it'll happen by 2015. But between 2015 and 2020, that's going to be the magic spot of when silver skyrockets to the moon. And the reason why I say that is because we only got about 1 billion ounces of silver in above ground inventories right now, and we probably have even less of that is available for investment demand. So because you gotta think right now, like, though that 1 billion ounces of above ground inventories, that you got tons of entities like vying for that 1 billion ounces of silver. You got countries like China and India buying up all this silver, and they're gonna want a piece of the pie. And then you got people like me who are investing in silver too, and they want a piece of the pie. And then you got industry too, which is wanting a piece of that pie. So you got all these people trying to get that 1 billion ounces of silver. And I think what's going to happen to the point is when the American dollar has finally collapsed and all these other currencies have collapsed, everybody is going to move into silver at once. And then when they try to move into silver at once, that is when everybody will realize that there is not as much of silver as they thought there was. And then that will spell the end of the silver manipulation. So, when people are finally trying to get the silver and they cannot get it anymore, that will be the end of manipulation. And if we somehow don't have a currency crisis in the world, which I highly doubt, then eventually the demand that we have right now is going to dwindle the remaining above ground inventory supplies, and eventually industry is going to realize that they can't get the silver that they need. I don't know if you noticed, but Apple recently went through delays in their products, and there's spokespeople from Apple saying it was like that because they couldn't get the silver they needed to put in their products. So either way, either industry or investment wise, whether the economy is good or whether the economy is bad, silver is going to shoot up either way. So it's a win-win situation. Also, it's protection against, hyperinflation, debasement of the currency. So you win either way. So there's nothing to lose out of investing in silver. So, damn, talking 19 minutes. There goes my 10-minute goal, but there was so much I had to talk about. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I highly suggest you guys invest in silver. But I want to tell you guys, invest in silver for a good cause. And what I mean by that is capitalism is obsolete. Capitalism is falling apart. Capitalism is reaching its end days. And I highly suggest you guys check out the Venus Project and consider donating whatever profits you make from silver to the Venus Project. Because if we live in a Venus Project, if we lived in that society, we could live in an amazing world where we wouldn't have to worry about making money or working jobs. We wouldn't have to worry about that anymore, and we can live in a world where everybody lives prosperously. There's no more hunger, no more suffering, no more poverty, and it'll just be the beginning of a new era where people don't have to work anymore, and technology is fully taken advantage of, and we can, enjoy our lives without having to worry about cumbersome things such as paying the bills and making money, and we can focus on things that truly satisfy what goes on for our spirits and our happiness, and our needs spiritually and mentally and emotionally. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching, and stack it up on that silver. Make it rain, girl.